In today's episode, I'm going to be sharing with you my secret for getting booked on podcast interviews, how to write your pitch. Stay tuned. Hello everyone, thanks for joining me for today's episode of Interview Connections TV. If you are watching this right around when it's airing, I hope you had a really great Christmas. I am filming this before Christmas because I'm gonna try to take as much time off between Christmas and New Year's as possible, but I want to make sure that I get this content out to you on Tuesday. So last week's episode, I gave some tips on if you want to get booked as a guest expert, what you should be doing on your own platform to be a great guest, to be somebody that's bookable, and to be somebody that podcasters actually want to have on their show. In today's episode, I'm going to be telling you exactly how to write your pitch. Okay, when you want to reach out to a podcast host and you want to be on their show, I'm going to be telling you exactly what you should be saying in your email pitch. Number one, you want to find shows that are a good fit for you. So when you're researching for shows, a couple places you can look are on iTunes. You can be looking through different podcast directories. Shepodcast.com has a directory of women's podcasts. There's a website called marketingpodcast.com, and that is, I think Jay Baer has that site, and that is compiling marketing podcasts. So there's a lot of different places you can look. When you find a show that resonates with you and that you feel like you'd be a good fit for, check a couple of things. Make sure they actually have guests on their podcast. If they've never had a guest on their show, they are not going to be too open to a pitch to have a guest on their show. It's going to look like you didn't even listen to the podcast. That brings me to my next tip. Make sure you actually listen to an episode or two so you know that host style. I can tell you that when I listen to certain podcasts, after a couple episodes, the pitch that I would write that podcaster is going to be so much better because I'm getting to know them and I know their communication style and I can match that. Which brings me to my next tip. When you're writing your pitch, you really want to be matching the communication style of that podcaster. Some podcasters are going to be, very professional. You want to have a really well-written pitch, something that's very, to the point. And others are going to be maybe they're very, they're comedic. They like to have fun. Sometimes on their contact form, they'll say things like, I want you to write me the shortest email possible because I get so many emails. So literally I've written, somebody said that and my email was like 2 sentences. And normally I would have given way more information, but again, I wanted to follow that person's request to be as short as possible. And real quick, let's go through what you're actually going to put in that email. Number one, you just want to open it up, just introducing yourself, breaking the ice, being as friendly as possible, who you are, how did you find their show, and what do you like about their show? Maybe point out something about a specific episode that you really enjoyed and that impacted you. This shows that you actually took the time to get to know them and listen to their show. And then number 2, you want to let them know that you would love to be a guest on their podcast and why you are a good fit and how you would provide content, valuable content to their audience. Podcasters want to make sure they're delivering content to their audience that is going to be as helpful and as valuable as possible. So instead of just talking all about you and this is why I'm so great and this is why I'm such an expert and this is why my story is so motivational and so inspiring, you want to frame it in a way that shows that your story, that your expertise, that your experiences are going to be helpful to their listeners. So you want to make sure that you point that out. And then lastly, you want to make sure that you include a one sheet. One sheets are so important. If you want to be booked for podcast interviews, if you want to be a guest expert, you've got to put together a one sheet. Listen, every professional speaker, people that are a member of Women's Speaker Association and National Speaker Associations, people that are out there speaking, they have speaker one sheets. You want to be serious about getting booked as a podcast guest, you've got to put together a podcast one sheet. What's on a podcast one sheet? Well, you want to have your bio, something short and to the point, maybe 3 to 5 sentences that they could potentially read to introduce you to the podcast. You want to provide specific or suggested interview topics and also some suggested interview questions. This way, when you pitch yourself to a podcaster and you show them your one sheet, they can read over the questions and kind of envision what that interview would sound like. So by providing that information, it's going to really increase your chances of getting booked on their show. Then you want to provide your contact information, your Skype name, your mailing address, because a lot of people like to send handwritten thank you cards. And if you can provide that information up front, it just really helps everything, the whole process, go a lot easier. And then also you just want that one sheet to be branded. It can be very simple, right? Mine is a pretty simple one sheet, but we are designing custom, very branded one sheets for our customers and our clients. So you can actually order one at interviewconnections.com. We'll take your information, we'll work with you, we'll get really great branded images that will make you really stand out. For our one client, Mike Wendland from PCMike.com, his one sheet is actually this giant iPhone, and then all the information is in the iPhone. So it's really cool because he's a tech expert. So we really just kind of took a creative point of view with his one sheet instead of just having all the information on a plain piece of paper or a PDF document. So that's it, folks. Just make sure you're providing content, showing how your content is going to be helpful to that podcaster's audience. Have a one sheet. We can help you with all of this stuff. We can do your one sheet for you. We can represent you and personally get you booked. Our programs for getting you booked are application only because we want to make sure we're working with people that are ready to go. But even if you're not ready to go, you can work with me privately. I do private coaching to get you where you need to be getting booked in 2015. So visit us at interviewconnections.com. Check out my podcast at roadstosuccesspodcast.com. I've got an ebook, Podcast Interviews. That's on my website and at Amazon. Have a wonderful new year. This will be, I think, right before New Year's Eve. So enjoy this week if you're watching this way after it aired. Hope you're having a great 2015. And I'll catch you next Tuesday, everyone. Have a wonderful week.